here again. Now, in a different perspective and a different understanding on occupational health safety and environment, deeper than normal health and safety. We've had a lot of incidents in the country, in Nigeria, where students were abducted, kidnapped. We've seen a lot of security challenges. We've seen financial crisis. We've seen depression amongst people. We have mental health related matters. COVID-19 came as a threat, and most organizations start moving up and down. People don't have understanding of business continuity. Today, we will not take it from the high level. We want to take it to our own children at home. Business continuity in schools. Do we even need such? I've seen most schools now, they have water everywhere, wash your hand. After a while now, everybody will stop washing hand, washing this. Do we even need to have business continuity in schools, or we have it in organizations alone? I have here with me one of our best in the industry. I don't want to start saying all these qualifications and everything and saying that alone, then the program will just end. Colleagues all over the world, this is an opportunity for us to ask more questions, to understand business continuity in schools. And I have with me Mr. Philip Keshiro, an expert in business continuity. Mr. Keshiro, you are welcome.
Thank you so much.
The Safety Advocacy Podcast, Mr. Keshiro, please move on. I would have said fire on, and fire start immediately. But you are here, you prevent it. Thank you. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much. You have painted a good scenario concerning business continuity in schools, and the question is, do we really need business continuity in schools? I want to tell you that business continuity is a principal issue. It cuts across the banking, it cuts across the hospitals, aviation, whatever industry you might be looking at, any sector of the industry or of the economy. Business continuity is important. Now, I want to tell you that business continuity is simple. It's also technical, but it's also common sense. Now, when you look at business continuity, we can say it's the process of planning for emergencies, critical issues that may come up, and then that despite those problems that may come up, you still expect your processes to run at a defined level. Now, as simple as that little definition may be, there's so many things that goes around the business continuity. Because when you look at business continuity from the point of a corporate, what it means is that the leadership must first of all have a buy-in into it. They must agree that we need this business continuity. We want to plan for incidents. We want to plan for disaster. We want to have a means to respond if there are issues. Now, and for you to do that, there are a lot of things that you need to take into cognizance. I've said number one, that's management commitment. The management has to be committed, because when you want to do a business continuity plan, it's like you going into a journey. You have to plan for it. You must get the consultant. You must get your people ready. You must train them. And then, because it's also a management system, you must be able to put that into your system that's already running. Now, for the corporate world and any other businesses, for business continuity, you have your normal organogram. You must also have an organogram for managing emergency. The two must be separate, so that when you have an emergency, the second organogram will kick in. And that organogram that kicks in is one that says that things has to be done, because emergency time is essential when you talk of emergency. So processes from one table to the other is abolished. So you need to react as quickly as possible. And based on that, there must be some procedure that says we have declared a disaster. And once you declare a disaster, that means you are saying that, look, we are not following the normal processes. So those that you have trained must also start to move with the time in order to solve that problem before it becomes a disaster or become a bigger issue. Now, business continuity, as I said, is a principal issue. You can divide it into 4, and then we'll look at it. That's the reduction, the response, the recovery, and also the restoration. When you talk about the reduction, you are talking about, are you planning before a disaster? That means your risk assessment, your business impact analysis, you are gathering information. And it is those information that you gather that you are going to make decision on. You are living in a particular environment. What are the threats to that environment? So when you have a school within a location, you look at the school has no wall, the school has no, the children come in, no protocol, visitors can come in and take a child. Then you are asking yourself, there could be an issue. So the business continuity tells you that you have a problem. That's from a risk assessment point of view, says we have a problem here. Then we're asking yourself, what are the control measures do we need to put in place? So really, when you have a business control, it helps the process of that organization, so that you start to look at things and do the planning and do the documentation, so that you do not have a situation where you'll be caught napping. So after that, you'll be looking at time-sensitive processes. These processes must not fail. These processes,
critical processes.
If this process fail, it could lead to embarrassment. It could lead to this. So what do we do? And that is why you have the timing to those processes. That's what we call the RTO, recovery time objective. And these are the things that emergency response will use as a means to respond to an incident as quickly as possible before it becomes a disaster. Take, for example, you go to operation, and they say between 20 minutes, this operation you have to do it. And then, if you have a business continuity, you say, we do not want to be on the public power system, put it on generator, and all those things will come in. But let us now look at our public sector. You do not have that, and you are using your public sector. And suddenly, 10 minutes, when you started, they take the light off. So you have a situation. So all these are part of planning. You have to plan before a disaster occurs. So when you look at the schools where people cherry pick the students and hijack them, you'll be asking yourself, was there a plan to even secure
just like he who fails to plan plans to fail?
Is there even a plan to secure the environment? Is there processes in place? So sending soldiers to those schools to say, go and secure them, it doesn't solve any problem. Because the principal, the owner of the school have to sit down and have a plan in place, knowing the risk that they face and the threats within that environment. So they have to sit down and plan for those things, and then do what they can do by putting the controls in place. After that, the procedure is done, then they will now respond when an incident occurs using those plans that is in place. But if you do not plan, an incident occurs, how do you respond? You can't respond. And that is why we are having all this, and it is a shame to us in Nigeria. So what we are saying is that there's a process, and that BCP is a process that you can use for any organization. So after you respond, then you can now start to talk about recovery. You understand? Recovery and making sure things are brought back to normal. Then you now restore. So these are the 4 major areas of business continuity. So for schools, they must first take, for example, if a school bus is going, and you know that these schools, people know that this school, the high network children goes to that school. Because you know that anything can happen on the road, why can't you put a camera inside that bus as a mitigation factor? That even if anything,
just a simple camera.
Yes, so that if anything happens, we know that at least we will be able to capture the environment, we'll be able to capture the people that did it and the rest. And these are what the police will use in investigation. So business continuity is bottom up. It's not top down. So when those schools does that planning, it's going to help the police and it's going to help all other agencies. So it's not just by saying we will put 2 soldiers here, we will put 2 policemen here, 5 people, 5, 10. No, it's about planning. So when you do that plan, you will look at, so there is nothing that should give you concern because you have done the necessary planning. And then you respond. Do not also forget, part of business control is for you also to get in touch with the required agency before the incident occurs. So with your risk assessment, you already know that we'll need the police, we'll need safety, we'll need this, we'll need that. So you get in touch with them. They will come to your drill before even the incident occurs. So those are the plans.
In essence, you test your plan.
You test your plan, you do exercise, you create the necessary awareness. So all these things brought together for each school, you have some form of resilience. That is what we are lacking. People don't understand that. You see, even you have a right, and let's take the bank for example. CBN as an agency issues what we call they issue those commands. Let me use that directives to the banks. You must have a business continuity, and that's why you can see that during the lockdown, you can still go and collect money. You can still do some transaction because they were already prepared. You understand? But are the school prepared? Is the aviation prepared? You understand? Our general hospital, the health, are they prepared? No, nobody is prepared. So all we are just doing is just doing fire brigade, and the fire industry doesn't like the language again. They don't like fire brigade. So so that's what we are just fighting it just the way it comes. But it should not be so. So that's why it's important for the schools to start to do a rethink and says we also need to plan. Every industry, everybody need to start to say which area can I be affected? What is the plan that I need to put in place? So that is what the schools need to do. And if they can do it, what happens is that the government will be able to look at other areas higher up, not basics. But now you are doing the basics, and it's the basic we'll be doing for the next 10 years. Instead for us to move higher, we are spending money on mundane things that we should not even do. Empower. Set these directives to the school that they must have a business continuity plan. And once you have, you can see the synergy that will be coming up. So it will be like a web. Something happened here. If there's a company that has a webcam outside, the police comes and says, can we see your video? It will help the police. The hotels has a business continuity plan. It will help the police. It will also help the military. So with this, your BCP, your security is built from the bottom up. And you can get information. Anything that happens, you can get it. And that's why some country will tell you, come and rob in our country. We will get you. You understand? Nowhere. Just come and rob. We will get you. Because they have built some levels, some layers of security, some layer of preparedness, both the private and the public. There's a handshake. That is what we do not have in this country.
That's a very wonderful one, very good one. But business continuity, goes beyond security. For schools, is it only security? You've mentioned the boss.
Well, it also goes in terms of having a plan for succession. We talked about critical processes. So if this, let us say your information technology fails, let's say the high network schools that have all these IT related boards and the rest. So what happens if they fail? What happens if this door refuses to open? And so on and so forth. So it's not
the
about
risk assessment would have captured
all those
even doing their BIA. Talk more about business impact analysis.
The BIA looks at processes and says if this processes fail, what will be the effect on the organization? So you start to pick all those processes and says, if this process fail, will there be a customer impact? Will it lead to financial impact? Will it affect this? Will it affect that? So with that, you have a plan in place. So if you know that this process is so critical that customers will be impacted, then you start to say, what are the requirements that is needed? If it fails, what are those things that we need to bring it up?
You now use that to calculate the RTO.
Yes, you use it to calculate the RTO. You use it to have your strategy in place and says, the strategy is that we need to get this, we need to be able to have alternate sites. If you can't use this place, we need to move the student to this area.
Can you speak more about having alternate site, having good spot, those areas?
Alternate site is just part of strategies, because part of this strategies also is working from home. It's also a BCP strategy, working from home.
Exactly.
Alternate site says that if we cannot get into this building, where can we move to? So you have that in place. Also, when it talks of IT, if our IT breaks down, do you have where we can copy the data to real time online? That will be your alternate site. Now the physical alternate site is now moving to the cloud. You understand? So that there's no barrier. Anywhere you are, you can work. You understand? So part of the strategy says we don't want to use this software, we want to use a web-enabled software. So that anywhere you have people on the web that are www, you can actually be working on the financial software or whatever software that you are using. Now, when you talk of hot site means that whatever you have here, you have an actual duplicate of it somewhere else. You don't need to buy anything. Now, when you now talk of the warm site, means that whatever you have here, you have some in another site, some. So if there's an issue, you buy more to complete. When you say cold site, what you are saying is that you just have a shell, a physical place. So if you have a downtime here, we will buy everything on that site. And that relates to the timing, your RTO. If your RTO is 0, means whatever you have here, you must have there. If your RTO is to 48 hours, that is recovery strategy. That means that you have some time to be able, maybe we'll use a warm site, or maybe we'll use alternate site that are used for another purpose, like a cafeteria. Now we say, okay, we can use this place. So it's like a warm site. So once you have an issue, you use your cafeteria as an office. That's another strategy. That will be like a warm site. You understand? So for the off site, it means that whatever you have here, you replicate it fully at the other side. When you say warm site, whatever you have here, some is at the other side. Cold site is everything that you are going to buy at the other side.
Let's talk about fire. In schools.
Okay.
Now let's assume, I want you to know the difference between emergency response management and BCP.
Okay.
I want us to look at the two together. There's fire in the school. What is the level of emergency response plan? What's the level of BCP?
Okay. Emergency response plan draws its strength from your risk assessment. If you do not have a proper risk assessment, your emergency response will fail. And emergency response do not stand alone. What fits emergency response is those things that you know that can happen. It could be fire, it could be
medical,
it could be somebody coming into the building and shooting everybody, active shooters in school.
That happens more abroad. We don't have that in Nigeria yet.
Yes,
but we should prepare for it.
We should prepare, but don't forget that somebody in Port Harcourt, a lady went to school because was caught with a bullet because of a teacher that caught her hair. So if she's able to get into that school, he's not going to kill that teacher alone. Because as many that wants to drag, he's going to start to.
They want to stop her and she will just
be spraying everywhere. So the point is that can it happen? Yeah. If you have hooliganism and so on in that school and says this thing can happen.
You start
to plan for it. So if it is fire and you do your risk assessment, your control measure is where can fire start in this place. Your storeroom, you look at it. You understand? They can somebody can. Do you have your kitchen
where you can have ignition?
Do you have gas? How is the gas being placed? Can it fall? Can you understand? Those are the things that you will do that will reduce the risk of fire to the minimum. So if you just go for emergency response, you just go and buy the equipment and then you put everything. So when they interview, say we have our emergency response, we have our fire extinguisher, we have this. But the issue really is that have you done your risk assessment? Is that risk assessment that should tell you these are the things that you need to put in place, and this is the magnitude of the fire that you are expecting, worst case scenario. And then you'll have told the fire service that we have a risk here, come and help us have a second look at what we have. And after they have a second look, you have handshake with them, make formal contact, so that by the time you call them, they are coming straight. And within your in-house, you also have all those people that you have trained in fire. They know how to shepherd the children away from. You understand? So it's a whole lot. So emergency response is part of business continuity, not the other way.
So in essence, where emergency response stops, business continuity take over to bring you back and restore the system.
In essence, I'm saying that business continuity is the umbrella for emergency response. Take, for example, for the business continuity, you have risk assessment, you have business impact analysis, you have the strategy, you also have the ability to write the plans now. You have exercising, you have awareness, you also have awareness and training, you have exercises. Then you also have the audit before you now move to extending your handshake with the external. So all these are called business continuity. If one is missing, you can say you do not have a business continuity plan.
That's very fantastic. Audience and our colleagues, it is very important to know that you don't learn how to dance on your wedding day, at the floor of the wedding. You might have planned, learn how to dance before you get to the wedding venue. And that is business continuity plan. You plan. Because if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And I remember in one of our classes one day when we were being lectured, they said proper planning prevents poor performance. When you plan very well, you will perform very well. So thank you very much, Mr. Keshiro. We still need to bring you once again. This time around, we want you to analyze more about business impact analysis and risk assessment.